Okay, everybody click the yes, I accept you record me button. So yeah. Hey, everybody, once again, thanks for being here. Those of you that couldn't be here and are watching the replay, I hope this will be just as valuable for you as if you were here live with us. And certainly thank the rest of you who are here with us. I acknowledge that. You could be doing a million and one things with your time on a, I don't even know what the hell today is. What is today? Thursday? Thursday afternoon, depending on where you live. And so we're going to make this worth your time. That being said, those of you high D personalities out there, I hear you, I see you, I know who you are. And I want you to know in advance, this is going to be, I hope, high energy. A lot of passion will come through on this subject. And we're going to move fast. Okay. We got a lot to cover, but I'm going to keep the speed going and hopefully keep your interest for the next 45 minutes or so. We'll see. That being said, I'm going to also, and if Mark can as well, we'll stay after. If you guys have questions and want to hang out a little bit afterwards, we'll happily stick around for as long as we can. And with that, I'm going to dive right in. So I'm going to let Mark introduce himself here in a moment, but just real quick, who the heck am I? My name is Jake Dixon. So I'm the founder of The Locker Room, and our one thing has been for the last 5 years now, supporting coaches and specifically productivity coaching programs. I've partnered and coached nearly 200 Keller Williams productivity coaches. I used to be a Keller Williams team leader myself for 3 years, was also a Keller Williams productivity coach for 3 years. And it was in that transition from TL to PC when the light bulb moment happened. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm sitting in the Carolinas region at the time, listening to Kristen Cole present about expansion systems orientation, ESO. And I still have my little workbook over here with all my chicken scratch notes because it was in that moment. I'm sitting in this room of mega achievers building massive businesses. And I'm like, here's this company I've grown to love that prides itself on systems and models. And yet there's nothing for productivity coaches. If we're being honest, and I wasn't a victim, I'm just calling it like it was. They were a redheaded stepchild for quite some time. And so I'm like, maybe I could create like this expansion platform for productivity coaches. And sure enough, that's what we did. But I knew to gain credibility and validity and have deliverables that first year with a vision, we chalked up to one massive beta test. So I was in Fort Mill, South Carolina, brand new productivity coach. And at the time, some of you may know, Shelby Ryburn was my team leader. Janice Swaney was our OP, and Sandra Candler was our MCA. I mean, you talk about a dream team, we had it going on, right? But I had never coached in a formal sense before. I did not inherit a coaching program. They never had one. And so from day one, we built it from the ground up. 1 year later, through this proof of concept, we generated over $1 million of company dollar. We had the #1 PC program, allegedly, according to my coach at MAPS at the time, in the first 6 months. So I guess we were doing something right. And luckily, for many offices who have partnered with us, we bottled that up into our systems and models that we can now deliver and duplicate elsewhere. And that's what we've been doing over the last several years. So in that first year, we had 3.6 million of agent earned GCI, 623 closings as just out of the program alone for $124 million of volume, all stemming from that PC program, right? The play we ran that we encourage others to do in the first 30 days, because I had no agents, had to start it, we launched on day 31 with 68 agents, all of which were re-recruiting our own agents in the market center, quarter cappers, half cappers, and certainly a ton of newbies. Any given time, we'd have 95, 105 people in the program, and we just had a machine that worked. So that's my story. That's who we are, and that's what we do. Super passionate about this topic because now having that observation deck, having coached nearly a couple hundred productivity coaches and working through the market centers, through GMs, regional directors, OPs, TLs, I'm going to kind of flip the script and I'm going to talk to you. And so will Mark today very directly, all the things I wish I could have had or could have said even at the time to my leadership that was maybe an opportunity for improvement, and certainly a lot that was done very, very well. So Mark, I'll turn it over to you, man. Who are you?
Well, my name's Mark Simpson, not Bart, not OJ. And I am the director of productivity for Keller Williams Emerald Coast, which is on the white sandy beaches of Destin, Florida. My background, I came into real estate and within about 8 months became the team leader of Keller Williams Jackson, Mississippi, ran that company for several years, grew it to #1 in the market, and then began to work in the region, Gulf States region, starting expansion teams, and then ended up working with our regional director as his general manager over multiple Keller Williams offices. It's during that time that I met Jake and had a great interaction, implemented what Jake was doing in some of the offices that I was handling. And then life happens. My father was through the final stages of Alzheimer's. I transitioned out of general manager into coaching. And then during the pandemic, of all things, I ended up talking to Jeff Adamson, our TL down here. And he said, we had known each other when I was team leader up in Jackson. He said, I've been waiting for you to call for 5 years. I need a director of productivity. So I moved to Destin, and we've launched the program, seeing great things happen. And it's exciting to see what happens where we start from the ground floor up, because I started from scratch. And it's been neat to see the growth that we're seeing in the lives that are being changed. Some of you are not old enough to remember the commercial of Victor Kayam, who said, I like the company, the razor so much I bought the company. Well, I didn't buy the company, but I did become a part of leadership with the locker room. And I'm also the VP of training and education for the locker room. So thank y'all for being here. And we're going to be speaking to you on a level of how to build this from a perspective of, we've been there, we've done that. All right.
That's exactly right, guys. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen with you. Hopefully this works. If you can see, Mark, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see this bad boy?
Got it.
You got it, my man. Okay. So all of you would have gotten this email, short notice. Thanks for being here once again. The 6 keys to generating $300,000 or more, certainly, per year in company dollar from your PC program. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you are currently have a PC program doing 300,000 or more of company dollar per year? Who's in the audience here? Anybody? Nobody. Okay, well, I'm talking to the right group. That's okay. There's no judgment, guys, and trust me, there's a lot more that should be here today that aren't to hear the same thing. Now, I don't claim to have the secret sauce, but we've been around the block a time or two, and this is not our first rodeo. So we're going to share with you some high-level things that I hope you can take away from today. And here's what we're going to cover, guys. Number 1, creating a vision for your PC role, right? That's got to come from you. Everything starts and ends with leadership. It's your job to cast that vision. And is it big enough to allow a world-class PC to fit inside of it, right? Gary Keller talks about that a lot. How to best support your PC. That's a big one. We could take all day on that subject alone. What to expect of your great productivity coach. We're going to talk a little bit about recruiting to the office and or the program. Number 5, structuring the program as a whole. And then again, an all hands on deck approach, getting the entire office, one language, one mission and vision that everybody's locked arms and marching towards. Before I do that, I'm going to stop screen share on this and share one other thing real quick, and then I'll come back to that. And that is, where did you go? Did I close it out? Oh, geez. Hold on, guys. Technical error on my end. You got to be kidding me. No, I got it pulled up right here. Just one second. So there's a page in our Coach's Field Guide that we have created that talks about an economic model. I'm scrolling as I stall to get this pulled back up for you guys because oh, you know what? Here it is. Huh. Sorry about that. It is my first rodeo. Okay. I just want to share this with you. Okay, so here, can everybody see this, Mark? We're good?
Yep, we're good.
So here's some assumptions. You don't have to write all this down. I can screenshot this, or you can screenshot it yourself right now. I don't care. But this is just an example. Let's assume an average sales price of $200,000. Some of you are much beyond that, so your numbers would vary. 2.8% average commish. You guys can read the rest. So we've got an average company dollar of $1,680 if this was your situation. Now, let's also pretend you have a coach who says, well, just like an agent, I want to do 6 figures as a productivity coach. I could have chosen any number. It's just a quick, easy math. And that's important because the talent that you're looking to attract, if you're serious about this like I am, this is a legitimate opportunity. This isn't some part-timer who's just bored selling real estate. right? I know how painstaking sometimes, God love them, a dual career agent would be. Can you imagine a dual career coach? Some of you know what I'm talking about. So on and on and on. And we're just going to go with a typical Gary Keller suggestion from MREA, 50% from listings, 50% from buyers. We can argue that all day with some average conversion rates. Here's the bottom line. I want to show you in this example, you're doing $336,000 as long as your coach then is earning six figures, win-win, right? That's why we chose 300,000. I don't want to put a lid certainly on what you can do. Some great productivity coaches, like I said, are doing $1 million or more of company dollar a year. But this shows you to do 336 in this example, we're looking at a couple hundred closings, about 17 a month, in other words. All right, now we start to chunk it down. That's reasonable. Yeah. How many listings on a 50-50? All right, about 100 listings sold, which would be about 8 a month. You do some reverse engineering on the math. The PC program would need to take about 11 new listings a month or go on about 22 listing appointments that month. On and on and on, you can see the same thing on the buyer side. This would be an example of an economic model that would support not only a legitimate six-figure opportunity for the coach, but hitting that sweet spot of what we're talking about today to do a program of 300,000 or more. Is this making sense? You guys are all smart people, way smarter than me. I just thought I'd show you here on the logical side before we start hitting on some of the emotional side. Any questions about this?
Uy, qué ricos son.
Yes. Say that. No? Okay.
I'm not sure that was directed to us.
Maybe that wasn't towards me. Okay. All right. So again, guys, if you want this screenshot, we're happy to distribute this. I don't expect you to take crazy notes right now. I just want to show you how easy and feasible this is when you just reverse engineer, chunk it down. And this is part of what we're talking about when it comes to your ability to cast a vision. So that level of talent is attracted to it. Fair?
And Jake, I will just say that this is definitely right on track with what we're doing in Destin, and income is tracking that and beyond. Yeah. And so it's all spot on, lived out right now.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to go back to my fancy schmancy PowerPoint if I can. And let's get back in here. All right, so picking up with this, we're going to start hitting at number one, creating a vision for the role. I know there's a lot of text on here. Don't panic. Take notes if you need to. But it starts with you, right? What is your goal? How's it going to be measured? If you can't articulate that, this rises and falls on your leadership. I've worked with so many TLs, OPs. I was one of them, like I said. And I know what that's like. You're running around a million different directions. You're focused on recruiting and retaining and all the things. And maybe, just maybe, there's more DNA in it than you care to admit for the lack of performance or lack of whatever coming out of your PC program. Love you, mean it. I might say some things that hurt. Okay, but it's okay. First step is acknowledging it. So what responsibilities is this individual going to have on your leadership team? There's a real simple quote by Stephanie Brackett. We used to have her as an ops coach for our team. And she said, Jake, clear is kind. Unclear is unkind. And I know how obvious and simple that is, but it hit me and it stuck with me ever since. Maybe, just maybe, we're shoving this productivity coach into the fold and saying, hey, just figure it out. I don't know. I'll give you a coach, whatever you need. Just you take it and run with it, because you just want to be hands off and get back to recruiting and not deal with those new agents or whatever the case may be, right? So you got to really articulate, what are those responsibilities? Mark, what are your core responsibilities as it was painted to you by Jeff Adams and Jamie Adamson? Sorry.
Well, number one is to grow the team, drive company retention. And because here's the thing is, we were recruiting 200 agents a year and losing 200 agents a year. So it was a revolving door. And our only model that we had was recruit a bunch of agents, drive bold 8 times a year. We'll throw in Ignite, and we had mentors, and it just wasn't scalable. It wasn't working. So recruit to the program, drive retention, and the biggest, and build profitability through productivity. And I do want to speak to Right from the get-go, we positioned our coaching program as not something that you launch with. Now, I coach from those agents that launch all the way through cappers and mega agents that have teams. And what's very, very important there is they will coach for a full year in the coaching program, and they will pay 10% of GCI up to $120,000. Meaning they cap at $12,000 a year in coaching. So if their GCI is 120K in 6 months, I'm going to coach them for a full year. But it was important that what I communicated right from the get-go is we do not want our agents to think coaching is something just for beginners. Coaching is a way of life. Have you noticed that all your top performers in your market center coach? Almost all of them do. And so we made it very clear from the get-go that we are creating a culture of coaching, not coaching is for launching.
Right. No, it's spot on, guys. That's something I get super passionate about is if I was walking through your market center, nobody knows me from Adam, and I polled some of the agents just in the office. Hey, tell me about this productivity coaching program. What would they say? Unanimously, almost every time, it's, oh, that's that new agent thing. That's that new agent training or coaching thing. We're sending the wrong message. That's a wrong narrative, in my opinion, than I think you want to have take shape within your offices if we're trying to build a world-class PC program here, right? And yet it gets that label, it gets that stigma, and we allow that narrative to continue on. So it's just seen as this new agent thing. Like Mark said, I was attracting top teams, whether I was coaching the Rainmaker or certainly the buyer's agents and people on the team, all through productivity coaching. It's not some low-level, entry-level coaching. With all due respect to MAPS and things, I mean, hey, look, I feel like I was every bit of a MAPS coach and stuff. The only difference is I'm on site, right? So here's some of the, oh, go ahead, Mark.
Well, Jake, what I'll just say is, yes, an agent, what I tell people is you will pay me as much as a MAPS coach, but you won't pay me more than a MAPS coach. And I'm going to bring that value, and you're going to do that at a 10% of GCI. So I wanted to set right off the bat. I want them used to that so that if they do outgrow me as a coach and they transition, they're used to that level of engagement, not just, once again, coaching is for beginners.
That's right. Yep. And guys, you've probably read the list there. I don't need to read each thing for you, but I'm telling you, and by the way, I'm happy, and I bet Mark would be too. If you have candidates, I don't care if you ever do business with me or not. If I can be a resource for you to say, hey, Jake, we get on the phone for 15 or 20 minutes or whatever with a candidate, let me know what you think. If you need a third party, unbiased opinion saying he or she's the one, or nope, I wouldn't hire him, let me know. That offer will always stand, whether I do business with you or not, or Mark does or not. I want to help y'all, seriously. Okay. Absolutely. I'm very passionate about this role. Now, that being said, yes, relatability, y'all. Like, I don't know what a disc says. I love and respect those, but look, I was a 0.52 medium fit on the freaking KPA for a productivity coach. I've sold one home in my life. I guess I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and yet I'm doing it. Now, it's not because I sucked at selling homes. It's because I sold one really, really fast, and the OP in my market center observed my participation in Ignite and tapped me on the shoulder to interview to be the team leader. And I went that route instead. But I'm telling you, don't miss the intangibles, the things that are not showing up on a DISC assessment or otherwise, like relatability. Can they demonstrate care and candor? Do they have that mindset of a CEO seeing this as a legitimate business opportunity? They are running a mega agent team, probably the largest team in your office in most cases. We got to have that mindset, man, right? It's the biggest team in the office, aside from you as the team leaders. Are they resourceful, coachable, and a team player? Understand coaching versus training, which we harp on a ton, and I'm going to get to more in a minute. On and on and on, but I'm telling you, these are the common characteristics. If you're looking right now, I would take a screenshot or whatever this and say, how are we doing? How does that person or candidate stack up to some of these things? Not just the fact that they were successful selling real estate and now they're bored with it. I'll shut up after this. Mark, chime in if you want to. From my experience, nothing against great performing agents, but if that's your only criteria, you're going to miss out. Why? because it is very tempting for a successful agent to become a professional advice giver, not a coach. Did you hear what I just said? Here's what worked for me is the temptation, because when their patience levels are thinning, just get out of my office, go do this. They start telling and giving professional advice versus the actual art of coaching, which is sitting in that awkward silent moment because you just asked an amazing question and you gave that person the gift of the power of thought versus give, let them self-discover. That's a huge element. Yes, even at the productivity coaching level. Mark, anything to add to that?
Well, I do think that you really want, and you're looking to find the fire in someone. And Michael Gerber in his book, The E-Myth, talks about most entrepreneurs or business owners are technicians suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. And most real estate agents are technicians. So that high performing agent might be a great technician, and all they're going to do is run a program like a technician instead of a CEO, and looking at the who in their life, not the how. And they're building their agents into business owners and business thinkers and going beyond just technician.
Yep. All right. Let's go to number 2, guys. So number 2 of 6 is how to best support your PC. Now, again, I understand we can only kind of hit on certain things today. Otherwise, we'd be here for hours. But look, are you considering the physical environment? And we talk about the environment in which people in, and I understand with all due respect to COVID and the challenge we've been faced with, but hopefully offices are beginning to open back up. What I mean by that is Mo Anderson and so many other people talk about this. Is it a culture of productivity? Is the environment scream productivity? When they walk into an office, do they even have an office? Meaning your productivity coach. I can't tell you how many TLs, no offense if this is you, don't even provide an office for their productivity coach. We say they're a part of the leadership team, and yet sometimes the audio doesn't match the video. How can you have a productivity coach that doesn't have a productivity specific environment that fosters private, sometimes emotional conversations, right? So the physical environment, you got to consider that is one way, of course, that you can best support your productivity coach. Office systems, productivity systems. Hey, look, whether it's locker room maps or any other option, right? Part of that is right underneath getting them a coach. How can you advocate a coach for others to coach with that doesn't have a coach themselves? That would be otherwise known as a fraud. Okay. Oh, sign up with me, but oh wait, I don't even have a coach. That doesn't make any sense. But also your onboarding. Oh my Lord, I cannot tell you how many PCs I have worked with and continue to work with till this day on their onboarding procedures, not just into the PC program. I'm talking about your market center. We got to get that right? Because a simple way to take from this would be know, do, feel. What do I need these agents to know? And by when do they need to know it? What do they need to do? And by when do they need to do it? And how do we want them to feel? So we talk so much about 30, 60, 90s, right? But even in your recruiting conversations with these agents, that's the time to begin setting that standard and laying out, here's what's going to happen. When's the last time you left a doctor's office and he or she didn't tell you, okay, Mark, so here's what's going to happen next? They're amazing. They're masters at that. Most doctors are. And what does that do for you? That gives you comfort. It gives you peace of mind knowing your arm's not going to fall off. Here's what's going to happen next. If your DAS, your PC, if they can't authentically be all on the same page and say, now here's what's going to happen next, agent, what's that experience like? Mark, chime in on that. Anything?
Well, I'll tell you what, it brings about confusion when it's not in place. And it's so important. The launch is everything. And I know that we don't get that second chance to create that first impression. And if we think about, I heard it said recently that the amount of fuel that was expended on the initial launch of the rockets to the moon, it was this astronomical percentage. Once you get it go, you cannot afford to flub the launch. and everybody's got to be singing off the same sheet of music. So slow down to get fast in that area. Fine tune that more than anything else.
It's simple physics, right? An object in motion stays in motion. So these agents, I'm talking new agents, or even a transfer, they're excited. They're like, let's go. Tell me what I need to know. Let's do this thing. And if we don't keep that in a very contained, direct manner, then they squirrel out. Next thing you know, they're not engaging. Round and round we go. Typically, the source of your frustration around lack of engagement stems, believe it or not, all the way back to the beginning when they onboarded with you.
So Jake, I would highly recommend, if they don't have a copy, get Joey Coleman's book, Never Lose a Customer Again. Excellent blueprint for the life cycle of an agent to turn them into raving fans. Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. It's right spot on with this.
Mark, I shared that with a team leader down in Louisiana yesterday. I still share it with every person I come in contact with. It is phenomenal, that book that he just recommended.
Yeah.
So you can see the rest here, guys. I mean, autonomy with accountability. Of course, that's the entrepreneurial thing. I mean, one of the beefs, and Shelby knows this, so if Shelby, if you're watching, hey, that I wish I had more of is I thirsted for that time with Shelby. I think I met with her a total of 2 times my first year as a productivity coach. It was on the calendar on Fridays, but things would happen and cancellations and whatever. I wanted that. Push me, hold me accountable, right? So you have to have that communication down with your PC if you're sitting here today as an OP, a TL, or whatever your leadership role is. They would welcome that. And in fact, to me, it was a sign of like, well, I mean, I'm putting up good numbers on the scoreboard, but I kind of feel a little unsupported, or I wish there's something between the gap of myself and my team leader that I wanted more of her time, right? Yeah. So don't discount that or think that they don't want to meet with you. They probably do, especially if they're talent. I can assure you they do.
Well, and I think that that's key. I know that for me, what attracted me to the Emerald Coast was, number one, the expansive opportunity. And so I knew that I would have the autonomy to build, and they said, be a mega. And what struck me was the level of engagement of the team. So I want to be a part of a team, and I want to have all the freedom to run unbridled, meaning opportunity without limits. And that's where you're going to attract talent.
Yep.
If you try to micromanage or you're disconnected, that disconnected coach is going to find themselves going to a place where there's meaning and connection.
Yeah. Yep. So number 3 of 6 being what to expect of a great PC. I mean, geez, guys, it's a lot to squeeze in with the time we have together today, but a great PC, this is what I've preached and through experience held myself accountable to. And this is what the expectation between me and any new agent I brought into my program was said. I firmly believe if you are letting your coach, not be the glorified broker in charge, not be the glorified Ignite trainer, I'm talking a true coach, okay? It's 5 things. If you will let them and protect them as much as you possibly can to do these 5 things, your company dollar, the number of cappers created, will be significantly different than it is today. And it's in this order. Number 1, I focus on mindset. Number 2, activities. Number 3, results, skill set development, systems and processes. I would tell every single agent during my onboarding with them one-on-one, these are the items I want to win your mind share battle with. When you think of mindset, you think of me. When you think of needing help with systems and processes, you think of me. So here's what I do, and here's what I don't do. Because I love you, and because I know where I'm really good and where I really suck, I am not your compliance officer. I am not your KW command tech trainer. You catch my drift? I am your coach. I drive production. I am a productivity coach. My job is to create chaos. So leaders, your job then to protect your coach so they can focus on these things and change your world is to create a bubble around them. Maybe you have to go get additional compliance support, because I know we're all inundated with the knock, you got a minute. How do I write this contract? What do I do in this negotiation? Look, those are all coachable training moments, but to the best of your ability, maybe that should come from someone else so we don't confuse the two, right? Because all of a sudden, what the new agents want is just simple help with, oh my God, I'm freaking out because I have my first contract to write. Maybe that should be somebody on the broker side of things, not the coach. I know this is a debatable topic I'm hitting on here. I'm just saying, I just want you to consider that. If you have a smaller office, yes, maybe your compliance broker, managing broker needs to be the same person. I get it, no judgment. But if you're in a position that you can separate the two, I would strongly advocate for you to do that. Mark, you were going to say something.
Well, this is another book recommendation. If you don't have Dan Sullivan's Who, Not How, staying in your lanes. Don't try to be the expert of everything, every topic. And I have surrounded myself with who's, from a technology coach to my script and role play coach to a broker consultant. And the broker consultant is someone that I just recently negotiated with the Market Center and said, I know you don't have a way to fund it, but my highest and best use is to coach to these 5 things, not get bogged down in broker. Let's carve out 2% of company dollar on agents, new agents in productivity, because they have the biggest question. Let's create an opportunity for somebody that loves to get it in the weeds there, but I can stay focused here and they can do this and I'll drive more people to them. And sure enough, it's already paying off because I'm driving into production and I'm not bogged down into the weeds.
That's right. He's spot on. And I wasn't going to get into this and I won't too much today. But that's where building out the team, going back to the first slide we shared with you, is thinking like a CEO. And this is a legitimate business opportunity and or the number one largest team in your office. Okay. Stop putting it on an island as a program. It's a team. It's a team. Insert leverage then. I know so many people I've helped hire transaction coaches. I've helped people hire dual career coaches who specialize coaching those dual career agents. I've helped them hire assistant coaches, right? Just like a team, a typical team might hire a buyer's agent or a showing assistant or a listing manager. That is no different in this case. If it is not your PC, maybe it's his or her responsibility to find the who and delegate that responsibility. Like people throw out this launch coach. I don't even know what a launch coach is till this day. I don't know who made that up. I don't think anybody really knows what that's defined as. So I'm more of the, without getting on semantics, what is it? What the hell does that mean? Are you a dual career coach? Are you a transaction coach? Let's call it what it is. And I think that helps people build out their organizational charts to have coaches for maybe every little nuance as they grow and grow and grow. Okay.
Well put.
Thank you. Recruiting to the Blue Ocean, guys. Here's a book recommendation from Jake then. Here you go, Mark. If you have not read The Blue Ocean Strategy, that is a book that changed my world. And there's a part 2, it's Blue Ocean Shift. But Blue Ocean Strategy, it is wonderful. And in this case, the passion, the heart and soul of this company of ours called The Locker Room is the Blue Ocean agents. And to us, that's defined, according to NAR, as the 97% of agents out there who sell 24 or fewer homes per year. That's my audience. That's who I'm fighting for. We know the other stats, right? 87% of agents don't renew their license after their first 2 years. Forget about that. Okay. So it is very fair that you expect your productivity coach to recruit to the Blue Ocean. Go get those R1, type agents, even R2 agents, so,
R2.
into the program. More than fair game. Let's go get those $2-3 million producers. Okay. They are all in the Blue Ocean definition, 24 or fewer homes per year. They have not arrived. They're probably bumping their head against the E2P ceiling and need a coach, like a productivity coach, to help them break through. And you guys get a guaranteed capper for a long, long time. Okay.
Gang, the thing to keep in mind is that, and hear that statistic, 97% of agents sell fewer than 24 homes a year. And that's the 100K net threshold, basically. In most markets, 100 or 25 homes will net you 100K. And 90% of agents, when you sit down, when they when they join your market center and you ask them, what do you want to earn? What's the number that they throw out?
6 figures.
I want to make 100,000. Okay. 90% say 100,000, 3% do. So this is that blue ocean. It's ripe for the productivity program when you have the plays to run.
That's right. Not just new agents. New licensees are great. I love their energy. They're wonderful to grow your company with. And the
And Jake,
cappers are not off limits, in my humble opinion, for the PC program either. They are not above the teachings of a PC program if you're running it the right way.
that's right. I mean, let's face it, in most market centers, cappers, those that are just at cappers are maybe netting $35,000. That's the beginning threshold. And at the end, if there's time, I'll share one of our R2 strategies in our market center that we're just about to implement. Nice. Utilize attracting new talent to our office. Love with it. Productivity coaching.
Yep. Guys, you see the rest. You can expect a great PC to push you. Talent pushes people, right? Embrace that creativity and eagerness, channel it the right way, but you'll know, just like, anything, if you've hired the right one, they're going to be coming to you at first, maybe positioning a lot of different creative ideas and ways of doing things. And it's up to you to have those conversations and see what's valid versus not valid. Certainly expect them to be held accountable and coachable themselves. If you're going to be a coach and ask other people to do that, I think it's very fair that you expect your PC to operate with the same open mind. And of course, I've already hit on this, the high level of communication. That goes both ways. Before I was saying you all need to meet with them, but it's reciprocated, right? You should also expect that of your productivity coach. If they're not showing up to your meetings prepared with numbers or whatever you've asked them to do, we're going to have some tough love conversations, or let me or Mark have that with them. So you don't have to be the bad guy. I don't care. But we gotta treat this like a legitimate opportunity, and you can shine the mirror back in their face and say, well, aren't you asking your agents to show up prepared and report their numbers, and yet you're showing up for our meetings? If you can't have that care and candor type conversation, and they get all, whatever on you, that's a development possibility, or maybe it ends up being you've got the wrong person if they're that thin-skinned.
All right, Jake, let's keep moving for time's sake. We're getting there.
All right. Got it, buddy. You got it. Number 4, recruiting to the office and the program. This is, again, one of the 6 things that we certainly want to speak to. We've already talked about the blue ocean. There it is again, right? Let them focus on that so you guys can all focus on the megas, the teams, the whatever threshold that you want to be focusing on. Okay, it's a team effort. And for all that's righteous and holy in this world, you and them continue always to re-recruit the own agents in your office. If you've got an office of 200 and 30, 40 of them are in the PC program, what are the other 170 doing? You're not going to convince me that they're in maps. So either we need to have some dead weight conversations and either get rid of them because they clearly don't align with our value of being a learning-based individual, which is what KW is all about, or hopefully not that, but maybe there's an opportunity to get them in the program, right? Huge. Go fish in your own pond first. Use broker metrics. You guys are probably all using that or something similar. Co-op agents. I mean, we've got all these scripts done. We got booklets galore of these types of things, but I'm telling you, man, if there's 17 closings happening in the PC program every month, that's 17 conversations on a co-op agent call saying, hey, Jake Dixon here. I'm the head productivity coach for KW. I saw that you recently did a transaction at 123 Main Street with Mark Simpson. Can I ask you a couple of questions that are quality assurance questions based on that transaction? Well, sure. Great. Thank you so much. Question 1, question 2, question 3. Hey, before I let you go, just out of curiosity, what are your 2021 goals? Awesome. Cool. Hey, do you have anybody that's holding you accountable to those goals right now? Interesting. If you had to say what's the biggest challenge facing your goals and achieving those goals this year, what would that be? Whatever they say, I'm listening, because now I'm going for the close. Hey, I tell you what, I've got some amazing coaching tools and things that I help my agents with when it comes to blank. What do you say we meet up tomorrow for 30 minutes at Starbucks and I'll show you and see if it helps your business too? I mean, these are scripts. It's easy stuff, right? That's a
Mhm.
co-op agent call, and many of you are probably very familiar with that call, but your PC can and should be doing those as well. Have them stalk people at their open houses, for God's sakes, go mingle at broker opens and those types of things. Office production reports, the most recent transaction period report, and other things like that. I totally just closed out on my screen.
Did I do that?
No, I think I did it. I don't know.
There we go.
And then finally, if you're not hosting things like career nights, or we have a class that we've created called the 19 things they don't teach you in real estate school, you need to, because does your calendar reflect your goals? If you have big recruiting goals, show me what those invitation scripts look like and what you're consistently inviting people to. So it's not just the typical recruiting call. Invite, 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 kill them with kindness. And here's a little one that maybe you take away from today is profit share of sponsors. I don't know about in the new system. I remember in the old system, at least, you could pull some ad hoc reports and say, show me all the agents in my market center and who their sponsor was. Don't care where they live, but I want the name and location and information of their sponsor. Because if I have made attempts to get in touch with Sally Sue to talk about coaching, and Sally Sue just will not return my calls, I'm going to go tattle on her a little bit. I'm going to call her sponsor and say, hey, help me help you. I know that you sponsored Sally Sue here in the office, and if I could help you earn passive income, would that be a win-win if you would help me get in touch with Sally Sue to talk about coaching? Yeah, easy stuff, man. Easy stuff. So we don't think about these things sometimes, but Mark, have you had any comment or any luck on any one of these strategies, if not all of them, to speak to?
Well, like anything, the going back in and the re-recruiting our own agents, those what I have found are finding the pain points. And honestly, there are those that they're not going to engage. They're uncomfortable, but they're comfortable in their discomfort. And those aren't the ones. But what I'm finding are those that are wanting to hit that next level and they're not comfortable with where they are. Those are the cappers that I brought into my coaching program that I'm now able to take them, or the half cappers, and say, let's double your income. And it's just sitting down and spending the time having the conversation of what matters to them.
Amen. Yep. Good stuff. All right. Well, you guys are familiar with recruiting, so I won't beat that one to death, but structuring your PC program, this is a big topic, man. And disclaimer, there's a million and one ways. I know the recent push is obviously going to the dependent model. So take anything I say from experience, opinion, and obviously it's a case-by-case thing. That being said, compensation, there's all sorts of forms of it. I think the most traditional still, by my calculation, is something in the ballpark of 10% of GCI. So it's more or less a self-funded role. Some market centers do 5% from the agent, 5% match from the market center. And I've even seen some recently that are going to more of a salary type position. I don't know how I feel about that, because I think it should still depend on production. I think it needs to be tied to a result, but all sorts of different options out there. So I would defer either to your MAPS coach or whomever. If you have one, I want to respect that relationship, or we can talk about it offline too.
And Jake, I will just share with you, I'll share with everybody here, the compensation model that I go with is that of it's 10% of GCI for up to, we cap at 120,000 GCI. So they will never pay me more than a MAPS coach, but I will bring them the value of a MAPS coach. And I'm going to coach for 12 months. So if we cap in 6 months, I'm going to coach for 12 months. And I always say, my goal is to run up the scoreboard so that I become the indispensable person in your life. And I think about Alyssa that I coach, and she's still in Jackson, Mississippi, where I'm from, but I started with her at 2. She went to 18, 36, and now she's on track to hit 62 closings. And each year we just keep moving that up. She caps with me every year now. And, but as I tell my agents, the conversation with the new ones are, I always ask them, will you begrudge me earning $12,000 if I help you gross 120? You will keep 108 minus company dollar, and I will keep 12. Is that going to be an issue for you? And I don't have that. Now you will always have a few folks that go, no, and then they don't, the first big deal that falls in their lap, they want to cut somebody out because they think that luck is their strategy. But all that being said, I just have very candid conversations. On the first 3 transactions, the market center does underwrite my tech and my script coach 10%. So 5 and 5 split for them. But they're available and accessible to all my agents going through the coaching program. So it's a way of investing on the front end, but my part is agent funded completely.
And I think that's, oh, I'm sorry, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, and we offer group coaching as well as I'm going to meet one-on-one at least twice a month. And what I tell them, if they're really running, I'll meet with them every single day because I get paid when they get paid. Let's do what it takes to win.
Yeah, I think that you hit on something I want to circle back to, which is earlier we said, make sure you're not branding this as just a new agent coaching program. You got to watch your language too on the backside of that. I really advocate for people to eliminate using the term "you graduated." It's so final. You've graduated from PC. Man, if you're saying that, if I can encourage you anywhere, I would say get rid of that language, because you just heard Mark, and I've got so many other testimonials too of people that continue. If you got a good thing going, why would you stop? Give them the option, right? To continue coaching for as long as you can. And it's possible people outgrow one another, but I don't know. That's I guess a different opinion out there, but I would remove graduating from the PC program.
Great agents never get outside of being coached.
Yeah.
And so why plant that seed? You may outgrow me, and that's the language I have, and I will help you find your next coach.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip the tracking payments thing. I think Command and certain things have helped.
And we run everything through Command in our PC program, unless they're a mega agent. But that allows us to stay on top of all of the opportunities and track those. So when you drop it into Command, they can't write opportunities apart from you. So it really does keep the funnel nice. No things get snuck by. Cool.
Well, and so, I mean, hey, look, Maps has the game book. We wrote our own coach's field guide. And so I talk about it in there, but the frequency, right? We get asked this a lot. What's the rhythm? What do you provide in terms of value to the agents? There's a lot of opinions out there on this. And here's what I learned. So as I was transitioning from TL to productivity coach, I literally talked to 62 productivity coaches across the country to make sure this is a role that I wanted to pursue, right? And I'm not exaggerating when I say that I learned 61 ways I knew I did not want to run my program. It was the wild, wild west. Like, okay. So again, blue ocean way of thinking. It's like, well, here's what the masses are doing. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to do things a little backwards from the rest because I want to get different than normal results, like producing $1 million our first year in company dollar. Okay. So what I did was, my standard was every agent gets 2 one-on-ones a month plus weekly group coaching and all the other stuff. That is very different, apparently, than how most PCs do it. Why? Because they're looking for leverage. They're thinking, how can I make this possible? Because I still have to run my production business, for example. Well, I'm not going to reduce or eliminate the value the agent deserves just because I'm a busy bee. So I was a full-time PC. I did not sell. That's an important detail. But I figure this way. Look, if I've got 60 people in my program and each one of them, in a perfect world, which never happens, schedules their 2, that's 120 coaching conversations a month that I'm going to be having. Well, I work Monday through Fridays. I don't work weekends, right? So that's 20 working days. Do the math. That's 6 coaching sessions a day. How I would structure those is I would have 3 in the morning, boom, 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 take my break, do my recruiting, whatever I need to do, and have 3 more in the afternoon. I'm done. 6 coaching sessions a day, doing the 2 allows a PC, before they need any form of leverage, to do, for example, 60 actively engaged agents.
Yeah.
That's just a quick little rundown. So don't let them say they don't have the capacity, or I'm going to make my agents close XYZ number of deals before they can earn a one-on-one. Are you freaking kidding me? That I am so passionate about this one. That's the person who needs us the most. What the hell are we doing if I'm not coaching? Like, so every agent in my world, and sounds like Mark's too, gets 2
Yep.
one-on-ones a month. I'm reasonably available in between, and weekly group coaching. Yeah, we do script practice,
Spot
we
on.
do awards and recognition. Every month I would do top 20% luncheons and tons of things at sales team meetings and whatnot. But that's the core of the program. And we have surveyed hundreds upon hundreds of agents from PC programs saying, what do you value? Rank them in order. Every time by a long shot, they rank the one-on-ones as the number one value they get from coaching. So if you're eliminating that, you got some problems. And no wonder they're saying, I don't get value from coaching and blah, blah, blah. My coach is never available. Maybe it's the setup. Mark, go ahead, man. I'll go on this all day long.
I would just say that this is my one thing. I do not sell. I have a broker's license in Mississippi and in Florida, but I do not sell. But the economic structure that we have put in place, and I am a 100% commission based, allows me to have a 6-figure income. And this is my one thing. And so what I saw and what brought me to the Emerald Coast is because of opportunity without limits, is I know that I've got a pathway to building $1 million GCI PC program, $1 million PC program, like to the income for me. And it's because of the growth that we can do. And I would say that if you're wanting to create a powerful PC program, do not make this the redheaded stepchild. Do not make this the who can we find that will juggle 2 things. Create an opportunity so this can be their one thing. You may have to structure a ramp up, but you're going to get results when you get focused.
Yeah. Yep. Well, let's move to 6. I know I want to respect time again. The last one here is just this all hands on deck approach. This is so big. I remember this would have been probably back in 2016-ish, going to a family reunion breakout session and sitting in there, and the panelists, I couldn't even tell you who they are, but there was 5 PCs up there. And towards the end, somebody from the audience said, hey, what's the number one thing as a productivity coach that you should look for if you're considering this opportunity? Unanimously, every single person, I never forget it, said your alignment with leadership. It's everything. You guys play more of a role in this and the success of this than maybe you think you do. I cannot stomach nor tell you how many, and they come to me and Mark, they tell us what they're really thinking. They feel so out of alignment with the leadership. It's very troubling. And I'm not saying you're at fault, but maybe it's a victim thing, and I'll work through that as a coach, but it is too common. And I think it starts with, if you can champion this person, edify them, edify the coach, what coaching in general does, whether it's maps or otherwise, just coaching, that's a start. But Gary Keller, they will tell you, man, part of culture is a common language. Language is culture. And so if your DFI, if your DAS don't know the coach, the program, the value, what happens, the rhythm of everything, we got to start there. And I teach and tell every coach that I've encountered, one of the greatest gifts you can give that DFI or that director of agent services, that MCA, is a free coaching session. Let them experience you. It's a bonding moment, first of all, and maybe there is something that they can take away because you're coaching them, but now they can speak authentically over by the water cooler to an agent and say, dude, I spent one session with Jake and I walked away from that amazed. Are you in the coaching program? Oh my gosh, if you haven't met with Jake, at least you need to. It changes things. And I've always dreamed of this. Please be the ones that take this and run with it. I've dreamed of a world where, as excited as you all get when Bold's coming into town, the old Bold, when it's coming into town, and it's an all hands on deck approach. I mean, everybody's calling into the roster, everybody's recruiting. It's get as many people as we can there. why can't we have that same attitude for your PC program? It's 24/7, 365. It's right there. I just envision a world where everybody's so jacked up, crazy excited about the PC program as they are when Bold comes into town.
Jake, I would lend to that statement is find the PC that you can be that jacked up about. If you're the PC,
Exactly.
be that PC that you can be that people can be that jacked up about you. And to circle back around, this where it gets hard is when you're out of alignment. And so the key is make sure that your vision, which was the number one point, is shared.
Yeah.
Whatever your path, if you are not plowing in the same direction, it's going to get wonky. I will say this. Coaching is important, not because I'm a coach, but I on a Sunday afternoon, I had a question because we have in our office some vestiges of old mentoring that I've needed to work through the mentoring landmines of all of that. And a little out of frustration, I emailed Gary Keller on a Sunday afternoon and asked him his rationale on coaching. And do you know that within under 45 minutes, he responded to me, and I'm not on his radar, but he responded to me about a productivity coaching question, a thoughtful, not multi-paragraph response of why it is so important to drive with this. And to me, it's not as much what he said, but that he responded so rapidly to that it just reinforced this is not something secondary. This is significant for the overall growth of where we're going.
That's right. And guys, there's our information. We're going to stick around for if anybody wants to for questions. I should have left more time, but there's a reason if you came here wondering or thought we would maybe hit on the models, like the dependent model. Should we or shouldn't we be buying leads in some of those conversations? We can talk about that, but I hope you saw I didn't include that for a reason, because if we don't get the vision, all the other components and the support and the right who in the role, it doesn't matter if you're buying leads or whatever the dependent model wants you to do. We got to get all this other stuff first. Focus on the who, not the how here. So if I or Mark can be of help, here's our information, guys. Find us on the interwebs, the Facebooks, all the things, but screenshot if you want to. We're here for you. I'm going to stop sharing. And if anybody has like questions, let's open it up to questions unless you need to roll. It's 3 o'clock. I understand. Well, 3 o'clock Central Time. I understand. And, but if you want to stick around, we're happy to help. What questions?
Any questions? Was this helpful?
Yeah. In true KW fashion, let's hear 3 ahas, right?
What
Jake,
are your
thanks.
takeaways?
This was awesome. I just have one